You're supposed to say something?
Yes, it's a podcast. The only way it works is if we talk.
Out loud?
I thought you were saying hi to the one listener that we have. I didn't know you were saying hi to us.
Yes. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Basic Teen TV. My name's Melissa.
I'm Victoria.
I'm Cindy.
Oh, no accent today?
No accent today.
All right.
I've been working on it, though.
So this episode we're talking about, we're almost towards the end, guys. This is kind of exciting,
Home
right?
stretch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Season 2 of 18 seasons.
Yeah.
It's only...
This is my life now.
It's only 6 or 7 seasons.
45 episodes, 16 per season, 16 seasons. It's a lot.
How many episodes are there total? Like 325? I think it's like 180 or something. It's a lot.
All right, so today is season 2, episodes 16, 17, and 18, and these are some good ones.
Shit's getting real. There's death.
I will say there are major key moments that I remember, and the death is one thing that I remember watching in high school and seeing that happen on TV when I was in high school as a kid.
Let's not jump too far ahead.
Yeah.
I know. So Jack turning gay was the one thing I didn't want to ruin for you guys, because that was one big thing I remembered in high school.
Turning. He
was
transitioned.
Did I say
overnight.
turning?
Yeah, he was always gay.
Oh,
Melissa.
sorry. I didn't realize I said turning.
Came out.
Came out. Oh my God.
He done turned gay.
They turned his character gay.
That's true.
They did.
So
they wrote that in.
Maybe that
yeah.
rhetoric applies somewhat. Anyways, Jack comes out gay, his character, and then yes, the thing that happens in episode 18, right?
Yeah, at the very, very end.
At the very, very end.
Save that to the end.
Right. Okay. So episode 16 is called "Be Careful What You Wish For." And what is this all about? Dawson turning 16?
Yeah, it's Dawson's 16th birthday, and his friends are planning a surprise party for him, and he is whining relentlessly
And doesn't
about
he point that out in the beginning to Pacey?
Yeah,
Where he's like, I'm just a whiny blah blah, and he has several other self-deprecating adjectives that he uses about himself.
Yeah, I think he's starting to say about himself what I've said about him all along. So, like the reasons why he kind of sucks. I mean, like some of his friends, I feel like, other than his parents getting divorced, which is a real problem for him, I feel like some of his friends have some more real issues, and his issues are mostly existential. And he wants
keeps him very self-centered.
Yeah, and he just is a real brat about it. And even in his acknowledgement of that, he's still being that way because he's acknowledging what a whiny little bitch he is, but also talking about how all of his friends are like growing and changing and evolving as humans, and he's just kind of staying the same. And I'm like, Dawson, get over yourself.
That's what I said. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? He's like wants to transition into this like successful 17-year-old or 16-year-old, or like what the fuck is he talking about? He's upset that he's not moving forward from last year. And I was like, bitch, just wait until you're 34.
Yeah.
And you still can't afford fucking health insurance. Like,
yeah, then you can start bitching about how you haven't moved forward in
your
life.
status.
All your friends are like married with kids and homeowners, and you're like still looking for a roommate. Then you can start complaining about how you haven't fucking advanced in life.
I feel that a lot, almost daily.
I mean, I think as New Yorkers we feel that, but we have purposefully put ourselves in a
oppression city.
Yeah, we put ourselves
in
a
city of oppression.
A city that's especially hard to succeed, both personally and professionally. And then whine about why life's so hard. We could move.
Get the fuck out of this.
Yeah, we could live somewhere else, but we don't. We choose to stay here and torture ourselves.
We love, being beat down every single day.
That's true. It's not. Yeah. So
it's abusive.
So that's where Dawson's at in his head. So Joey is supposed to be planning his surprise party at his parents' house.
At his own house.
Yeah, at his own house. And so Andie and Pacey are taking him out to do something while they set up this party.
Yeah.
Which he apparently already knows about.
Yeah.
He declares it at some point. He figured it out. But he goes And Andie's having her own little breakdown. She goes to therapy.
She's at the therapist, and the therapist prescribes for her not a drug.
One night of imperfection. And I was like, ooh.
Oh, girl, it's about to get wild.
Which to her meant, like, using a whole bottle of body glitter.
I know! She just, like, dumped... Were people doing that then?
Yes, they were! That's the thing!
I remember a little glitter, but I don't... It looked like she went to Pride earlier in the day or something. Like, it was insane.
Like, caught in the glitter cannon fire.
Yeah.
Oops. I don't have time to shower. I'm just going to change and keep going.
It was just so much body glitter. And it was like the huge
Like big
glitter
chunks.
flakes. Not like subtle, like a shimmer.
Yeah.
Just like the biggest glitter that you could put on your body.
Yeah.
So Andie's been taken off of her meds and doing therapy instead. And I feel like she's gotten real annoying.
She has.
She's gotten real annoying. I mean, she was always like a little
high strung
before, but now she's trying to like keep it together while letting loose at the same time. Oh God.
There's nothing worse than a person who like tries to let loose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you gotta try.
If you're a perfectionist and you're like trying to let loose, she's trying to perfect
letting loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's just a ball of neurosis.
Yeah.
So they
go to it looks like they go to that same jazz club that
Yeah.
Jen's boyfriend Ty. I'm glad you reminded me of his name. When I
Ty.
was watching the episodes, I'm like, what is this guy's name again? I can't remember this guy's name.
How do they keep getting let into this club?
Yeah, so what is this? There's one club in Capeside where they let in underage kids. Don't card them until it's way too late.
Yeah.
And
Don't card them until they declare that they're 16.
yeah.
We're 16, by the way.
So they go to this club.
So that's part of like the ruse to get Dawson out of his house. You know, Pacey's like, hey, let's go to this club. And
Pacey drives them there in a cop car.
yes,
it's his brother, his older brother's
a cop.
car.
That doesn't mean he can just drive the cop car. What the fuck was that?
It's a small town. They probably don't give a shit. It's probably the one car the whole family has.
Yeah,
he
maybe.
drove it once before. That's how he met
That's how he met Andie.
Andie, because he pretended to be a cop.
He somehow was able to
Oh,
convince
yeah.
her.
Here's the thing. Cops don't keep their cop car when they're not working. So you take it back to the station and you drive your regular
Maybe you
car
do in
home.
a super
so
small
Pacey showed up
town.
at the station and was like,
Maybe
"Let
you
me just
do in
grab these
super
keys."
small towns where like
Yeah, you might drive your cop car home.
where
Well,
like
my
you
dad was
town.
a cop and like...
But your dad was a cop in Baltimore. That's a huge city compared to quote unquote Capeside.
What's the population in Capeside?
Like 30.
Let's see, Dawson, Joey, Pacey.
It's like the same.
I mean they portray it as like a small town. I mean, you know, the town square still has brick lined streets. You know,
Yeah.
it's not, you know, it comes off as like really, I don't know what the word is, but just an old town, a small, super small town. Where 16-year-olds
are
where
allowed to
everyone
drive their
knows
brother's
where
cop
everyone
car.
knows the police chief's first name and whatever. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. I'll just take it for what it is.
So they go to this club.
Go to this
and
club.
While Pacey's in the bathroom, they order
Rum and Coke.
rum and cokes. And Pacey doesn't know that they're drinking until.
And hadn't they never drank before?
That's what Andie says. Andie's like, oh my gosh, I've never had a drink before, have you? And Dawson's like, no.
Dawson's never drank before? I mean, okay.
Well, he never drank like he did that night.
True.
Yeah, he got real drunk.
So
they got real drunk. And finally the bar...
It was an open mic night.
Yeah.
So they went up.
Oh, yeah, they went up and
after
sang.
they'd had
like two rum and cokes, and they're like, "Ah, so fucked up."
I mean, if you'd never drank before in your life, maybe
Yeah.
you would be. Pacey was real annoyed by them going up on stage, but I thought the song they did was pretty good.
Yeah, it was
I was
pretty
just
good.
about to say, the execution was rough. They looked real white and real awkward, especially with her body glitter. But like the lyrics, I thought it was pretty cool.
Dawson sounded pretty good too on the mic
did a good
singing.
job.
I didn't really think they sounded
He was better
good, but
than-
the lyrics were kind of cool on the fly.
As far as like tone and all that stuff, he was better than Andie.
He's definitely better than Andie.
And for open mic night, I think what they did was well within reason for an open mic night. And Pacey was not having any of it. I'm like,
I would have been like,
what's your problem?
Damn, where'd this come from all of a sudden?
Yeah, Pacey, loosen up.
Yeah.
Relax, dude.
We're just trying to fucking get hammered and sing the blues, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like these writers have done a complete 180 on his character. And he's now the responsible one, the smart one. Well, that has his shit together one.
Andie like built him up to be that guy. Mm-hmm. So now I feel like he needs to take some ownership over being that guy. But like, don't be a dick about it. And now like, and I think it's like a little bit of a role reversal with Andie and Pacey, because now he's like, okay, I'm gonna buckle down. I'm gonna be a good student. I'm gonna be responsible. I'm gonna be successful. And she's like struggling. She had sort of, at least on the outwardly, like had all her shit together, and now things are starting to break apart for her. She's like losing it. So I guess he feels like he needs to like double down on her to keep her together. I think she really just needs to have a full meltdown before she can really build herself back up again. She really needs.
This was kind of the beginning of that.
Maybe she will. Obviously, I can't remember.
So meanwhile,
maybe she
at
will.
the house, though, we got Ty and Jen, and Ty keeps like kissing her, and he wants to bone.
They keep doing
so
this
bad.
like yo-yo between them two. Like
I thought they had broken up.
I thought they had broken up. First of all, I was really
back at
surprised to see him in this episode because I was like, I couldn't remember his name. There, shows how much he meant to the show, or any sort of character development they did for him. I couldn't remember him. But yeah, I mean, I guess I remembered him enough to be like, oh, I thought they broke up.
Well, he back.
Her back.
And hers against premarital sex. So
I do not like Ty.
Me
Not
either.
either.
I wrote Ty is the worst. Dash.
dangerous.
Religious. Ugh. Homophobic and against premarital sex. Psh.
So
He's not a teenager that exists in real life.
I mean, he might be.
He is.
What I wrote.
Is he really?
I briefly dated this one dude who was very religious, like right after college, and we would like, after we did bone, he cried.
But he still boned before marriage.
He did, but he was trying to not do that anymore.
Did he blame you for it?
He did the same shit that Ty did. He's like, this is just like too tempting, and you're being around. And he basically said all the same thing. Like, I'm so attracted to you, and it makes me want to do things that I shouldn't.
That I know I shouldn't
quote
do.
unquote shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
And then he fucking cried over the Lord because he
boned you.
because he put his pee in my V, and then he had a full on meltdown. And I was like, what the fuck? He's over there crying.
So here's what
I was like,
wrote.
was it that bad? Like, I thought it was pretty good. Damn, you don't have to cry. Jesus.
I wrote, he's a dick, will grow up to be an abusive husband and manipulative. So here's a problem with Ty.
I wish we could really find that out right now.
Here's the problem with Ty.
Where's Ty's character now?
He doesn't take no for an answer. Like, he's just sort of pushed himself on.
Yeah, he kept calling and leaving
on Jen,
voicemails and
over and over again. She's like, no thanks. Even from the beginning, even before they got together, she was like, I don't see this working. And he just kept sort of chipping away at her resolve until she finally broke down. Then she sort of connected with him a little bit. But then he's like, oh, well, you're so hot. I'm so hot for you, and we can't have sex, and this is all your fault. This is your fault for being too attractive, for being
so sexy.
For like turning me on. And props to Jen, because she's like, fuck you. Basically,
which she should have said a while ago when she found out he was a fucking
tried.
homophobe.
But like Victoria said, he couldn't take no for an answer for whatever reason.
Like, just, ooh. I've seen this type of man in real life, and
I've boned this type of man in real life.
It's super manipulative. It's super manipulative. Like, won't take no for an answer. Gonna ship away until they get what they want, but then they get what they want, and they don't really want it, and somehow that's your fault. And, I do
think it was funny, though, when they're in Dawson's brand new Ford Explorer, that they're in his car making out, and Jen does the
hand,
Titanic.
yeah.
The Titanic on the foggy window move.
Yeah.
And
it's like so steamy in there.
I burst out laughing. I burst out laughing a lot in this episode. But yeah, so I wanted to put that in there.
So another thing at the party, Jack shows up, and he's fully gay now. Apparently, like
putting hair gel in your hair
and wearing like a leather jacket. Like he's kind of getting it together. He's like figuring out who he is all of a sudden overnight.
And fucking Abby fucking jumps on this, and they're really, really extra setting her up to be an unlikable person, which we'll get to at the end of this podcast. But her and her like two random girlfriends, like, oh, Jack's gay. Suddenly he's like, he's like a novelty to them because he's like the only like.
Yeah, one of them points out, like, you're the first gay person I know.
Right. So they want to, like, sort of dissect his brain a little bit. But then Abby also somehow, for some inexplicable reason, takes it as a personal challenge to, like, try to get him to hook up with her because he's gay. And
yeah,
like,
I didn't
like
understand that storyline.
I didn't understand it either. I'm like, what is Abby going at right here? I don't understand. I mean, I know she's always mischievous and she always has an ulterior motive to everything that she
really
does.
Just bizarre.
Yeah, like that. It came out of nowhere. I mean, maybe just they were like, we need to explore Jack being gay. So let's just
like, how can we insert ourselves?
Let's just randomly have a little thing going on between him and Abby in this one episode.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm an outsider, and so are you. And no one's gay. She kept saying that. She's like, everyone's
bisexual.
Yeah.
She called everyone bisexual.
And all of a sudden Jack's
We're
like...
all just a little bisexual, aren't we?
Well, Jack jumped on that idea because he's like, I guess he probably isn't fully comfortable yet with labeling himself as gay. So he's like, well, what if everybody's just on the sexuality spectrum somewhere and I'm just far to the left or the right, whatever you want to look at it. But then I don't know what that leads to.
I don't understand how that leads to them making out, though.
Yeah, and...
Me either. Like, he was testing it out to see if he is still attracted to women at all. So then they started making out in Dawson's bedroom. And then Dawson came back.
Well, wait. We need to... So we jumped a little bit ahead of ourselves. Because we don't actually see Abby and Jack making out until after the whole Dawson thing in the kitchen, right? Like, we don't...
remember the timeline.
I don't either.
Joey does, like...
I mean, so let's rewind a little bit.
Okay.
So Dawson arrives at his party, and he bursts in, and he bursts in, and he's like, surprise!
And then him and what's-her-face jump on the table.
And they start dancing.
It's ridiculous.
Yes, it is ridiculous.
The whole last
and his parents are there. I'm like, where are Mom and Dad right now?
What were they dancing to? Was there even music playing?
No, I don't think there was music
they
playing.
were just like, surprise, we're drunk.
Surprise, bitches! I had 2 rubber coats! I've never liked Dawson more than this episode. Everything that happens from the minute he gets home, I was like, fuck, Dawson, maybe you're just like coming around. Like, he was calling people out on their shit. And
he called everybody out.
He went upstairs because, what's her face? Katie Holmes. Joey was trying to sober him up.
Right.
And she was like, gonna get him coffee. So they go upstairs and they go into his room, and that's when they see Jack making out with
Abby.
Satan.
Right.
And Dawson's reaction, he cracks the fuck up the second he sees it. And I was like, that's my boy. This episode, that's my boy.
I mean, I love how he calls everyone out on their shit. Although it's still pretty self-centered what he's doing.
And some of it was like not funny. Some of it was just...
It was all like projection. Like he's just feeling like shit about himself.
Yeah.
And so he's just taking it out on everyone else.
I still like that whole diatribe, though.
The funniest part was when he goes to make out with Joey and she pushes him and he falls like right on his own cake.
Yeah, he like bounces off of something and then it's like face down in his cake.
The camera work I feel like was pretty bad.
Me too.
Because
it wasn't supposed to be as funny as
it was. I know, yeah, because I just think that the way that Joey actually pushed him, he would not have landed like that.
No, he wouldn't have spun and then fell over.
And then have like gone like right front and center his face to the cake.
Yeah, like his hands were tied behind his back and he just like fell over into the cake.
I'm like, he probably would have fallen, like the cake would have landed on it, or he would have landed chest first on the cake or something, not his face.
Just his face.
Yeah.
Just
It was
his
like
face.
he bent over. You know those little bird things where they like bend over into the water glass? That's how he fell into the cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was just like.
So that was Dawson's wake up call, that he like falls face first into his own birthday cake, and then it's like party over after that.
But there was one fun thing that he said when he pointed out, when he like started making fun of Jack or whatever. He's like, this is, fuck, I can't remember the first part of what he said. He said something like, this is his own personal, what was that movie? In and Out. Remember that movie
Right.
In and Out?
With
He's
Kevin
like,
Kline.
this is, yeah. And then he goes, he's in, he's out.
Yeah.
He's in, he's out.
Yeah.
He's in, he's out. And I was like, Dawson, you are killing it tonight. Damn. He had like a whole stand-up routine.
Dawson needs to be drunk in more episodes.
He does.
I mean, maybe he just needs to drink more. And
Just 2 rum and cokes, that's all it takes.
yeah, you can get out of your head. Quit thinking about your existential bullshit.
Oh.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, then it was party over
Party over.
after the cake.
So, do we want to like quickly point out Gail and Mitch a little bit? So, Mitch wants to talk to Gail about what they plan on getting Dawson for his birthday, and Gail's like, "Oh, I've already gotten him a present. I got him a new car."
Jeep.
I thought she said a Ford Explorer.
Oh, maybe you're something that
I mean,
his
some
bitch ass didn't
SUV,
deserve.
right.
Yeah, some large brand new vehicle that Dawson doesn't deserve.
Right. Yeah.
Also, like, I don't know, the morning of his birthday might be a little too late to start talking about going in on a gift together. Just bad planning, Mitch. Another reason why Gail's like, that's done and done because his birthday is now. But yeah, in the end, after, so they're Mitch doesn't like the fact that Gail bought a car. It's probably less about
The car,
and more like a
More.
power play between them. Like, she's like, well, I already
That was
did
totally a
thing.
power play on her part.
And
Yeah.
she won. Because she's getting him a Ford Explorer.
Well, in the
He
end,
didn't end up getting it because he got punished for the way he acted.
For
Yeah,
his drunken
Gail was
outburst.
probably like, "You're right. It probably wasn't a good idea to
Yeah,
get him
she's
that
like,
car.
he's not ready
He's
for
clearly
this."
not ready."
but they're gonna get him a car anyways because then Mitch is like, yeah, why don't we go in together on some old junker or something for him to
Yeah,
have.
97 Cavalier, like what I got. It used to like smoke all the time and break down on the side of the road. That's what you get as your first car, not
Yeah.
a brand new fucking.
I had like an '85 Ford Tempo.
I didn't even have my own car in high school. I still was driving my parents' car. But I had friends whose parents bought them like shitty cars as their first car because they're like, "We're not going to get you a brand new car
Yeah, I think
for
our
you
car
to
was
ruin."
like $2,000 or
Yeah.
something.
Your first car should be garbage car because you're gonna wreck it anyways.
I've
Well,
never
and
been in
they're
a
not
car
gonna-
accident, guys. Never
Well, and teenagers
in my
probably
life.
aren't
I was
going
a
to.
very responsible
You've
driver.
never been in a car accident?
No, I've been driving. I am a fantastic driver.
I've been in a few. Great
I've been in one, and it wasn't my fault. I do know that.
I did get a lot of speeding tickets, but never car accidents. I would do like 55 in a 30. I got a ticket for that before. I had places to be.
Very busy teenager.
Yeah, one of my friends actually drove her parents Suburban for a long time, for like the first year after she got her license, and then her parents bought her a really shitty Pathfinder, which she drove all through high school, and then by senior year the speedometer didn't work, so she was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, Nicole, how do you know like what speed to go? She's like, I just
You can feel it.
I
Feel
just
it
see
out.
She was like, I just see what the other cars are doing.
Great.
No, that's actually not bad. I mean, when you're on the highway, I'm like, if everyone's speeding, I'm gonna speed too. I don't want to be the asshole that's going slow. You just match. what
Yeah,
everybody
she
else
just
is
kind
doing.
of tried to gauge how fast other cars were going around her.
It's hilarious. It also can't be legal to drive a car without a speedometer.
No.
No, of course not. But still. All right. So, wow, we got through episode 16 pretty
Good job, guys.
quickly.
Yeah.
I think we're getting the hang of this. Was there anything else?
We're also not very drunk right now, so.
True. Let's
Yeah,
drink.
Yeah, you guys. I'm like one ahead of you.
Cheers.
This is my second.
It's like, what?
This is
You've
my
already had two?
Yeah, me too.
Wait, what? When did
Where have you been?
y'all refill?
Right before we started recording, I did a refill.
Me too.
Oh my god. Wait, is this my second?
No.
Okay. Damn it.
Damn it.
I didn't remember y'all drinking.
Oh, we're drinking.
Drinking.
I'm drunk.
Shit.
I've had my 2 rum and cokes.
Yeah, I'm drunk. Time to dance on some tables and shit.
For the record, we're not drinking rum and cokes. We're having bellinis.
Bellinis. It's Sunday.
It's Sunday.
We're recording on a Sunday. Sunday fun day.
Sunday fun day.
Okay.
All right, episode 17, Psychic Friends.
Psychic Friends. So there's some sort of like town fair going on in the middle of winter. An outdoor town fair.
Maybe before we begin this episode, we can get another refill.
Oh, refills? Yeah. I mean, I'm still trying to finish my first.
We gotta pop another bottle, though.
Pause for refills.
Pause. And we're back.
We back.
We got refills. Okay, so episode 17, Psychic Friends. I'm sorry, so you wanted to say something about... I mentioned that there's a town fair going on, and you're like, wait, before... Oh,
I said
that
wait
was just
because
the
I
paucity of
needed
the
more
drinks.
alcohol.
Okay, sorry. I thought it was something about the show. Okay, it opens up with Dawson's dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the name of his movie is called...
Creek Days. I wrote that down. Creek Days.
I did
lol.
too. I wrote lol. Dawson's dream. I also wrote lol. There's a hot new teacher in town.
Wait, no, his dream, though, is
his dream, yeah.
that Joey is watching his film and comes to the end, and she was like, that's the most influential, profound film of our decade. Isn't Jack such a great filmmaker? Like, his dream is that Joey is, like, in love with his film, but Jack made... And Dawson's like, but I made the film. And she, like, pulls out the, like, cover of the film, and it's like, by Jack.
By Jack.
And he's like, wait a minute. And he, like, wakes up in a cold sweat. And then, now there's, like, this new...
But also in the dream, Jack and Joey get engaged and run off to Tinseltown.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He proposes right in front of...
Oh, yeah, he's like...
Dawson.
Climbs in through the window or something.
Yeah, and he's like, I got an offer for this, that, and the other, and I'm moving to Hollywood. And Joey's like, that's great.
And in the background, Dawson's like, aren't you gay? Why are you asking Joey to marry you?
He's like, marry me, let's go to Hollywood. She's like, okay.
Yeah, and then he wakes up screaming.
So there's a hot new young lady film
Hot new teacher. And I immediately thought, I was like, wait, they're not going to try and do this again, are they?
That's what I thought, too.
Yeah, I was like, no, this can't be happening again. She turns out to be Dawson's new film teacher. She's
like a big time.
Right, she comes from Hollywood. She has experience in the industry.
And now she's teaching it.
Yeah, and she's on sabbatical somehow, even though she's working, but to write a screenplay, some kind of romantic comedy. So I don't know who goes on sabbatical from their job to write a screenplay and then takes another job in a small town as a teacher.
Did she say the word? Did she say the word sabbatical?
So it's mentioned at some point that she's on sabbatical to write a film.
I mean, because most of the writers in Hollywood, anyways, are freelancers. They're
Yeah,
not,
you're not taking...
you take time off whenever you want to write stuff, and I'm sure take jobs elsewhere whenever you want.
Maybe not as a high school teacher in fucking
Podunk.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that part, but
I don't remember them saying that, or anyone saying she's on sabbatical. I didn't miss that part. I must have been in the bathroom.
The actress is...
I was in the bathroom for the whole last episode, just so you guys know. I have 2 notes that I wrote. So, yeah.
This actress, I can't pronounce her name, it's something Scandinavian, but she was Shelley in Twin Peaks. In case she looks familiar to anybody. She looked familiar to me.
She looked familiar to me, but I didn't take the time to look her up.
She did not look familiar to me.
And I never watched Twin Peaks.
Neither.
So I wouldn't know. I just know I've seen her in other things.
I mean, her role in Twin Peaks probably was her, like, biggest role ever. This whatever bullshit role in
Dawson's Creek.
Her name is Miss Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, there's no, like, naughty student-teacher relationship that evolves. Dawson just I guess, has a
He's crushing.
healthy respect for her.
But he's crushing a little bit at first, I think.
Well, I think he's crushing on her in a different way. Like, he thinks that she might be a ticket to something because she comes from the industry that he wants to be in. Like, she's already working in that industry, in the film industry.
Yeah, he's networking.
I think
hard with her.
right. So it might be like like a work crush.
Yeah.
Like, someone can help me with my career crush.
Yeah.
And not like what not what Pacey and Miss Jacobs had.
Yeah, which was
actually an illegal relationship.
Yeah, and an unbelievable sexual chemistry. I'm not buying it. Anyways, we already discussed that ad nauseum twice.
I was just glad that it's come to find. I mean, I still wasn't sure even throughout this whole episode. I'm like, something probably could still happen between her and a student, but I was really hoping it wouldn't.
Can we discuss then? So there's a whole other plot line, but this plot line between Dawson and the teacher, he finally asks her to watch his film, and she does. And
if I were Dawson, I would never. I'd be like, no, this is so juvenile and so.
Well, he doesn't think it is.
Yeah, no, he thinks it's a brilliant masterpiece. Oh boy, does she fucking
rip into his asshole.
Oh my god!
Although I do remember, so I
kept waiting for him to wake up from another bad dream, and I was like, oh wait, no, this is really happening. She is really laying into him about how shitty his fucking movie is.
I do remember when the episode opened up. I didn't recognize Miss Kennedy. You know, I don't remember from back in high school, but I do remember remembering this episode as like, oh, this is the part where Dawson is going to be like brought down like so low on his film aspirations. Like even before that scene happened, I was like, oh, this is where Dawson's going to get shit on by the teacher.
Here's the thing though. I went to an art high school and I went to school for film. I'm sure all of these teachers, especially in high school, had to watch like shitty performances by high school kids and like watch their shitty films that they made. There's a way to handle that as an adult and give some constructive criticism. She was like, this is a piece of shit and you're not going to make it in Hollywood. That's basically what she said.
Yeah, I mean...
She was like, you're the kind that they eat for breakfast and spit out.
It was awful.
Although I will say this, I had an experience in college where I studied photography, and I had a professor who, it was critique day. Like we had a week to bring in new work, and it was critiqued. And that was what our whole class was, and it was like a 2-hour class. And I remember I hung up my stuff, and the professor looks at my work, and she says, this is shit, we're moving on. And did not discuss my work at all.
That is not okay.
I didn't cry in class, but I was waiting. I wanted class to be over so fast. I like ran back to my dorm and just cried. I mean, I think I cried on the walk back, but I was like,
this was for a photography class.
Right, yeah.
So
this was for my major. Like I was a photography major. And
the whole point is that you're presenting something that you made and you get critiqued on it. It might not be the best, but you get feedback and then you learn from the feedback that you get to enhance your work and to enhance like what you're trying to express. That's fucked up.
Being told, shit.
That's not helpful.
I mean, that's how I remember it. If I want to give this professor the benefit of the doubt.
What's her name?
Honestly, I don't
First and last.
I know. No, honestly, I can't even remember her name anymore. But I remember it stunned the class. And I think, like I said, if I want to give her the benefit of the doubt, because I really can't remember, other than the fact that I'm pretty sure she called my work shit. Like, she used the word shit. And that we're going to move on. And then I don't remember if one of my classmates came to my defense and was like, well, shouldn't we talk about this a little bit? Like, this is what we're here for. Or if she might have double backed on it and said, okay, well, wait, we'll talk about it a little bit, but we're not going to spend a lot of time on this.
That just sounds like personal, though. Like
I know,
like,
yeah.
Like
I mean, I didn't...
Like, if she's not going to give you criticism, then it might be, or, like, any kind of feedback, then she just thinks that you, like, don't care. She's like, well, this student doesn't give a fuck about this class. Yeah, didn't try, so there's no point in talking about it. versus someone who tries and like maybe it didn't live up to expectations, then you need to.
And then she really tried to redeem herself at the end of the semester by saying like, "Hey guys, you know what? I'm not even a photographer. I'm a painter. What the fuck do I?
What do you teach?
I mean, I know.
Who hired her to do this then?
Yeah, she tried to like redeem herself at the end of the semester by saying like, you guys are going to do whatever you want to do, which you should. Just do it, you know. But understand that this is like a critique, and you know. But obviously, I felt that what she said was not a critique. It was just a flat out, with no basis judgment.
Like,
of my work.
Like, you don't, to this day, you don't know why your work was shit.
I
Poor
don't know.
exposure, poor composition.
Yeah, what's the deal?
Subject matter, like, why was it shit?
Yeah, I don't know. I even remember what the work was. It was like, I'll be honest, I remember thinking, like, I don't know what I'm going to send in for critique this week. So I just shot whatever the fuck. You know, I shot around my dorm, hanging out with my roommates, you know, whatever we did on the weekend, you know. I think I was trying to go for some sort of documentary style, like, this is my life.
Well, it should still be discussed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she probably felt like you just blew off the assignment.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't trying to blow off the assignment, but I was really stuck in what I was going to shoot and what I was going to present. I do know that.
In my high school, I was in theater, and I hated it. I don't know why I was in it. I thought I would like it. I didn't. So what I would do was I would intentionally do the weirdest shit for our, like, end of year performance things, and it would still get critiqued as if it was like a real thing. And it used to crack me the fuck up so hard when
You're really gonna help. You're really gonna make me employ that beep noise.
He would, like, as a class, we would all discuss the
Was
thing
that your
that
teacher or another student?
He was the teacher who also had a weird relationship with Karen in senior year.
Starless.
And there was one performance. It was our last thing. It was senior year, and we had to do, like, a performance on how we grew from 9th grade to senior year. How we grew as, like, people and developed and whatever. Everyone was doing the most over-the-top serious shit. This is what I did, and I'm not fucking lying to you. I wore a tutu. I had the teachers put out a bunch of gymnast mats, and I had a blow-up whale, and I did interpretive dance to Nat King Cole with my blow-up whale.
Oh my god!
And do you know when it was done, the whole class talked about, like, what
it meant.
Yeah,
What
like
the whale represented.
What everything represented.
Is there, like, a
and
VHS
I
of
was
this
like,
somewhere?
There has to be, because we filmed all of them.
Oh my god!
And it was discussed at length, and I was like, really trying not to lose my shit. Laughing. So that's how it should be.
I did.
That's how, I mean, yeah. You shouldn't, like, just dismiss a thing that a student did.
I did a project in high school for my photography class, and I was well liked by my photography teacher, and I usually did serious work, and I don't know what possessed me to do this, but for one of my projects, we had to do, like, a theme or something. I forget, like, a series of some sort, and I just really felt like doing something fun, so I did Kroger Bag Boys and their meat, which Kroger is a grocery store, and I went to the Kroger, I worked there, and I went and I photographed different, like, dudes that worked there holding up cuts of meat. I don't think it was a particularly good project. I just thought it was hilarious. And so I had, like, a whole poster board of, like, black and white photos of, like, different guys at Kroger holding up cuts
like
of
portraits?
meat. Yeah, a portrait
like fine
of them
art portraits.
holding, like,
Were they behind the counter still, or did you have them come out from behind the counter?
They were, like, in the store, like, environmental portraits.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but were they behind the meat counter?
No, they were, because they weren't, it was called Kroger Bag Boys, but it wasn't necessarily bag boys, it was just, like, people that worked there, so they would just be, like, maybe in the, like, meat aisle, like, holding up some, like, sausage or something.
Sausage?
I don't remember what the critique was. I remember it kind of being dismissed, but me not feeling bad about it, because I'm like, this is dumb. But hilarious. I don't know why, but I think I was just, like, really high, and I was like, Kroger Bag Boys, and then meat. I don't even. I'll have to dig up some negatives for that too.
Yeah, I want to see.
Because I think I even got in trouble at some point. Like the manager, was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like,
The manager of the store?
yeah, like, why are you in here taking photos? And I'm like, well, just,
What's wrong with that?
You couldn't tell it was for school?
No, because you're in like a store. You shouldn't be like photographing. I don't know. I don't remember.
It's not like you were photographing customers. You were photographing your coworkers.
They weren't doing anything inappropriate with
And they
the
weren't.
meat.
Yeah.
No, they were just holding it up. They were just posing with it. Like, big smile.
Big smile. Well, I like that idea.
So, anyways, back to Dawson in a shitty film. So I don't even remember what she said, but it was pretty fucking harsh. Like your movie is like drivel, it's trite. Oh, she said it bordered on plagiarism because it was like so cliche or whatever, and that, you know, and I guess she meant it as being like, you know, you got to tighten up your game because Hollywood will eat you for breakfast. But also, he's 16, just turned 16. Like yesterday.
I don't like how she criticized the production value. I'm like, he's in high school. Like, what sort of production value?
Like a camcorder.
Yeah, like, what sort of production value was she expecting from a high school kid who's... We don't know what the resources were at his school for film production.
Sure not much.
He had that grant because he won contest, but
even
You can
still,
only buy so much equipment, and then
it was still like $1,500 or something. He gave half.
He gave half of it to Joey, but so I didn't personally like that.
Oh
criticism.
yeah, and he shouldn't have done that either. BT Dubs.
What? Oh, giving her the money?
Yeah, no, he should have just kept that.
Dumbass.
Yeah. So it kills him, right?
Yeah, he's pretty broken up about it, and there was no softening anything. At any point, he's just like
pretty broken up about it.
I just expected some like comic relief after that, and there was like none. She just like ripped him a new asshole. Like he's like they're like forming this bond and this friendship, and he finally asked her to see the film, and she's like, I thought you never asked.
Because wasn't he even hesitant to show it to her? Because Jen was like, you should show her your film, like if she can help you. Remember, like after class, they're walking down the hall together. And Dawson's like, no way. He even says it. He's like, no way. I'm a high school kid. Like, she's going to think it's terrible and immature. And, you know, it's below her, you know, because she's whatever she is in Hollywood.
And when he said that, I was like, no way, dude. You can get, like, some good critiques on it and you can learn some shit. That's what I thought.
She didn't handle it very well.
Nah, she did not.
Yeah, because her initial was like, after the film, she was like, it's fine. And he's like, just fine? And she's like, yeah, it's fine. And I'm like, oh God, where's this going? And then he's like, no, tell me what you really think. And she's like, you want? Because I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And then she just rips me a new asshole. And I'm like, you could have sugarcoated that a little bit. 16-year-old. So then now he's like sulking about his shitty film. He wants to go back and like re-edit it and whatever. He's like trying to salvage his garbage film.
His garbage film.
Creek Days.
Creek Days. Spelled D-A-Z-E.
Uh-huh.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yes!
Oh, God.
I know, it's bad. And the last scene is that chick and she's rowing a boat and she's like
she's like smiling, like tossing her head back. I wish I had more context for that scene because I don't know why she's rowing away,
laughing. To the sky.
Oh,
so then there's like a
so all of this is
fair.
happening, right? Well, all of this is happening at the town fair. You know, Joey and Jack are setting up her booth of her photography, of her artwork.
No, her artwork. Yeah. Her
drawings. She draws.
Yeah.
Right.
So Joey and Jack are like friends now. Apparently, it's like been a month. I think Jack says that at some point. It's been like a month since he's come out. So now they're like trying to like
be friends.
Like
like
seems to be going okay.
Yeah. They seem to be navigating it pretty well.
Yeah.
And then a hot new guy. They always hook Joey up with a hot new random guy. Like,
well, she goes to get her
hot new
cards
guy
read
in town.
first. And the woman's like, you're going to run into
a tall,
dark, handsome.
strange,
And they showed
stranger.
him, and I was like, His name's Colin Manchester.
Manchester!
I was like, that's
what kind of name is
tall,
that?
dark, handsome dude that she's gonna meet.
I thought he was handsome.
Yeah, he was okay.
He was cute.
I don't know what tall, dark, and whatever,
I
but
don't know about tall, but he was cute.
He was cute for like a young kid, but when I think tall, dark, handsome, I don't think Colin Manchester.
So Jack kind of pushes her because the fortune teller says, like, say yes to every opportunity. And Jack's like, ooh, here's your... And Joey was sulking about, like, the next time she was going to get kissed. Like, she thinks she's never going to get kissed again or something.
Stupid bitch. I hate Joey.
just wait until you meet Tom Cruise.
It's going to be a lot.
It's gonna work out well for you. Don't worry about it.
Until then, it doesn't.
Until it blows up in your face. You have to rescue your kid from a cult. It'll be fine. Yeah, so she goes in and talks to him, and
the guy asks her to get some hot chocolate, so he's giving her the impression that he's interested, and he keeps touching her face.
I know.
And it's like, you're just so beautiful. You have such supple lips.
Supple lips.
He touches her lips. I'm like, ew! God, I would
Gross.
not let a stranger touch me like that.
But she's kind of into it. But it upset me very deeply because everyone is so obsessed with Joey. Everyone. What is the intrigue here? I just don't get it. Why is everyone so goddamn obsessed with Joey? He wants to take photos of her. Her lips are supple. She's so beautiful. And she's like, biting her lip because she always bites her fucking lip when she's like trying to be coy.
Jen does that.
Every single girl on the show does that.
Oh, do they? Mm-hmm. I noticed Jen doing it most of the time when I am noticing lips being bitten. It's always Jen.
I fucking hate Jen.
I like Jen.
I don't like Jen.
I don't like Jen. I don't like Jen right now. She better turn it around.
I don't like Jen. Anyways, so the new stranger, tall, dark, handsome stranger, is a photographer, and he wants to take pictures of Joey.
He has a booth at the thing
with his work.
He's the one who has his photography up.
Yeah.
I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah. Colin Manchester.
She agrees, and then Jack comes along as like an escort, which is smart because
it is smart.
It is the number one scam is to like get a pretty girl in your photo studio.
That's actually what I was thinking when I was watching this. I'm like, something bad's gonna happen to Joey if she goes alone with this boy. Like,
yeah,
like
he's already touching her.
He's
lips.
already touching her. Like after meeting her
in a public
few
place.
minutes before
Over hot chocolate.
Yeah, I was like, Joey, don't do it.
But it ends up being semi-legit. They do a photo shoot. It's a cheesy glamour shot photo shoot. It's really bad.
It is so
straight
bad.
at a glamour shot.
It's so bad. The whole photo shoot is really, really bad. The outfits are bad. The whole premise is bad. The art direction is bad.
When he's yelling at her,
yeah,
it's so
like,
cliche.
Give me Marilyn Monroe or some shit like that.
Yeah,
give me Madonna.
it's really bad. But they do the whole photo shoot, and then in the end, he's like, "Oh, there's something I've been meaning to ask you."
And he keeps putting his head really close to her head,
like,
so you think they're gonna make out.
And he's like, "Is Jack seeing anybody?" And we're like, "What?" And then Joey's like, "Oh."
We should take a picture of your face.
Oh. She's like, "No, meet him at 11." And then she goes back and
at 11, I thought it was 8.
I don't know, whatever. She goes back.
Time's irrelevant.
She goes back to Jack and she's like, "Guess what? He's gay and he wants to meet you." And I set up a date. And then Jack
is pissed.
Yeah, freaks out.
He's not ready to be gay.
He's still making out with bitches and shit.
Yeah. And then she meets up with the photographer, Colin Manchester. Anyways,
well, because he's waiting.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, Jack's not coming."
So she probably feels like she has to go and say something, so he's just not sitting there all night long.
And so she's like, "Oh, Jack's not coming." And I was out of line for me to agree for him, and then he's like, "Well, my boyfriend and I broke up, and I'm just blah blah blah," and
rebounding.
I'm on the rebound.
Yeah.
And then they have this whole moment, and she's like, "Okay, sorry, dude, a guy that I've known for like 3 hours. Good luck with your life. Bye now." And then I didn't understand any of the point of any of that, really. I guess I think it was just meant to demonstrate their friendship and Jack's still uncomfortableness with his own
Gayness. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Unknown.
Maybe it solidified their friendship even more. Like.
Oh yeah, that was because they were really like.
They did talk about that briefly in the beginning, right? Like.
Yeah, and like Dawson, that's another pain point for Dawson because he's seeing them like be friends, and I think he even says something to Jack at some point. He's like, "Oh, she used to come to me."
Jack is becoming the person that Joey goes to now for comfort and solace and advice and blah blah blah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Dawson is like feels that slipping away, their friendship and his filmmaking and his
whole life.
Yeah, he's just
his whole life at the tender age of 16
down the toilet,
going down the drain. Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Did anything else of note happen in that episode?
I don't think so.
Well, so there's hints that Mitch and Miss Kennedy are a thing. They are at the fair together and they leave together. And Jen tries to hook Grams up with the old guy. I think his name was Whit.
Oh, yeah, they have some... So Grams has some booth at the fair, too, of, like, wicker baskets or some bullshit. And some old guy is, like, 3 booths away, catches her eye, comes over, and he was, like...
Apparently they'd known each other their whole lives. Right.
So Jen convinces Graham to get all gussied up.
She's, like, dyeing Grams' hair and, like...
It's a lot.
She's, like, turning out her own grandmother.
Yeah. Pimping her grandmother. But, I mean, I guess the point of that was because her grandmother was like, oh, well, after your grandfather died, I figured, like, that
was it for me.
Yeah, that part of my life was, like, done. And now you've made me realize I can, like, get out there. But so then she goes to meet up with the dude. It doesn't work out. She comes home, and he's like, oh, yeah, well, his wife wasn't feeling well, so he had to cancel. And I was like, what?
What the fuck?
Even
what is this, like, 80-year-old men cheating on his wife?
Men.
Men are the
worst. But
it
was good that Jen was trying to teach her grandmother about condoms, because I feel like the olds, they do some fucked up shit when they get back into like, the dating game.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, that's true.
About this, like
that was an episode of Parks and Rec where
my dad got syphilis
whole
2
mission,
years ago.
Right. Well, yeah, like all the old people, like once they get to a certain age, and if their significant other has died and they are going back to dating, that they're just having loads of unprotected sex, and so it's just like disease just rampant among old people because they think that like, oh, I'm an old person, I don't have to worry about this shit anymore.
Well, I think my dad my dad was like always raw dogging it his whole life. I think he just
oh. Wish I had another picture of Victoria's face.
God. So my dad was never it's not like my dad was like, oh man, back in my day, like I think for a lot of really old people, they don't even think about it because there wasn't much concern about STDs then as there is now. But my dad, like, is aware of all this shit. He just doesn't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
Until, like, his left ball blows up the size of a cantaloupe. And then all of a sudden he's like,
why are we talking about your dad?
I know, why are we talking about your dad raw dogging it and
yet.
His balls? God. All right, let's move on.
I'm just speaking my truth.
Speaking of
my life.
Speaking of old dads, at the end of the episode,
old dads.
Joey's dad turns up on the front porch.
Oh, yeah.
He's out of jail. That's how the show ends. That's how the episode ends.
Oh, yeah, he's on parole for being a big deal drug dealer.
He wasn't a dealing. He wasn't a
marijuana. So, this is the crux of the thing because in the next episode, which is episode 18, A Perfect Wedding, he's back and he's paroled from his heinous offense that the whole town is talking about. What a horrible human being he is.
They also mentioned
he was moving. I don't even think he was dealing. I think
he was like a mule.
Yeah, he was moving around some weed.
He was just moving a lot of weed around.
And I don't even think
he was just going like this on the table.
Yeah, he was really just like
for hours,
some weed. So he wasn't even. It wasn't like he was like a predator, like at the high school selling kids. He was really like a weed distribution,
almost like a middleman.
Yeah. But the whole town thinks that he's scum, and
they also say he's scum because he cheated on his sick wife. Apparently, I don't remember that part.
I do remember that from the beginning, and that does make him scum. He did, unless they had an arrangement, because sometimes it happens. Your wife is dying,
or yeah, unless mom was like, "I'm dying, you should get out there."
We don't know the inside story.
We don't. It was not explained or brought.
But there's a
into much
lot of
detail.
moral judgment wielded upon this man for his behavior while his wife is dying, and for being
a drug
a
mule.
marijuana distribution middle management, as far as I'm concerned.
Middle management.
And if you translated his offenses to modern times,
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
nobody cares.
We're on the road to marijuana being legal. So.
2020, baby. We're almost there.
Almost there.
Yeah, I don't really have many notes for this episode. I wasn't really paying attention.
You were in the bathroom the whole time.
I was in the bathroom. I was at work watching.
So A Perfect Wedding. I remember when this show title came up, I'm like, who's getting married? At first I thought it was Bessie and her husband, or her baby daddy,
Who's Bessie?
Joey's sister.
Joey's sister with the baby. And the black boyfriend that we haven't seen.
We haven't seen since like episode 3 of season 1.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know who that is.
But you saw Bessie in this episode when they were all in the house and her dad's making breakfast and she comes in with the baby. That's the sister.
Bessie,
yeah.
cool name.
Bessie and Joey.
Bessie and Joey. Josephine, I guess. Bessie and Josephine.
So what's Bessie short for? Beatrice?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Beatrice and Josephine? Those are lovely names. Why would you turn them into Bessie and Joey?
Sounds like two fucking cows at a pasture.
It does. Bessie.
Yeah, so
the dad shows up. Joey's
dad shows up.
He's catering.
Overnight,
right?
Him and Bessie cook up a
plan
scheme.
to get the restaurant out of debt, which is to cater a wedding. And
so they do that.
So they don't really have much debt then.
Well,
$2,000 of debt.
I think catering one wedding is just step one to having
They're gonna do this long term.
a side business to get the restaurant out of debt. And Joey's real worked up about it. She's worried about her dad,
fucking up again.
Well, yeah, returning to the public eye in town because he's got such a bad reputation. And then also about fucking up this whole wedding and further ruining his reputation. So I kind of get why she's concerned about it, but she's also like just overly concerned. Like if I was a teenager and my parents were entering into some business venture, I wouldn't be like so uptight about the inner workings of it. I'd be like, well, okay, I'll help you, but this is your problem. But she takes it on as her like
her own problem.
Yeah, her own problem, and she's real worked up about it. But she recruits the whole gang to be cater waiters at this wedding. And
how long was the dad in jail?
A couple of years, maybe, a few years.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was also confusing that he was like paroled and he just like shows up like they didn't know that he was coming.
Were they not communicating with him the whole time that he was in jail?
Well, that's always been a problem, like a contention between Bessie and Joey. Like Joey never wanted to go see her dad in jail, and they had somehow come up with some sort of arrangement that they would go every other year on his birthday.
Yeah.
So they would switch years to go visit him, and she never liked doing it. I think he was in jail for longer than a couple of years because when she did visit him in jail, I think this was in season 1, so you weren't a part of the podcast yet, but I remember her telling him, like, I've grown up and you've not been around for it. So I feel like he's been away for a long time.
Well, even so, it could have been like 5 or 6 years. And
5 years.
If she went from
going
from
like
10-year-old
10 to 15,
yeah.
Those are pretty formidable years.
Mm-hmm. It's also pretty shitty that his daughters only visit him once every 2 years.
I know, I'd be pissed.
And I remember she went to visit him once. It was like a bus ride or something. She was back the same day. It wasn't a huge deal.
Yeah.
I mean, cut your dad some slack. He's just moving around some weed. What's the problem with that? We need those kind of people in the world.
So they're furthering the relationship between Jack and Joey because Joey tells Jack first about Dad coming back in town. And Jack is the one who spills it to Dawson. So Dawson's feeling even more like Joey's still like she's growing further and further apart from me. So that like, you know, further continues Dawson's spiraling out of control-ish situation.
Mm-hmm.
I want to point out real quick before we start, I feel like this episode is really emotional. Like the characters get super emotional a lot in this episode, but I just want to point out the outfits that Abby and Jen were wearing in school. Abby was wearing this like red knit top and like a feather boa jacket thing with like feather boa. She had like 2 buns on top of her head. With like black feathers in her hair.
Okay.
And then matching that, she had this like sweater thing that was, the trim was feather boa.
Okay.
Did you like the outfit?
No, it was terrible.
Okay.
I mean, it was the 90s.
I know, but it was like the worst 90s outfits
All of
I've
their
ever
clothes are
seen.
really bad.
Yeah.
And Jen is wearing this like awful long purple dress with like a silver jacket over it. It was just...
Their clothes are all their clothes.
But these
bad.
are really bad. Oh, also, speaking of clothes, but apparently, I mean, I guess not the entire wardrobe from top to bottom, but I noticed that in the credits at the end of episode 18, so I'm going to maybe think that it's in the credits of the other episodes, it says a wardrobe provided by J. Crew still. J. Crew was not making no feather boa sweater
I
thing.
think maybe like the core outfits.
The core outfits.
Like Dawson's, all of Dawson's.
The sweaters
clothes.
and
the sweater vests and the
the khakis.
ill-fitting khakis are all J. Crew.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Abby is just supposed to be the like flaunty, flirty, over the top one, so they put her in some
Feathers.
crazy
It
outfits.
was really bad.
So
really bad.
So Jen approaches Abby because they were like enemies at this point, and she was like, "I'm bored and I don't have any friends." Essentially, this is how the conversation goes down. Like, be my friend again. And Abby's like, "All right, let's be friends." So they're the only ones who aren't recruited to be cater waiters at this wedding, and they crash it.
They're wedding crashers.
So they crash
Is that what happened?
it. So Andie, oh boy,
Andie.
Andie
That's
is.
Andie hasn't been annoying me as much until this moment. I was like, what is she doing?
What was she doing? Fill me in.
She was just she was extra.
She was super extra this whole episode. First of all, she ruins the cake.
Yeah, so she's just wound up real tight and about everything, and she's just like blah 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 blah, and Pacey's like, could you fucking dial it down? And she's like blah 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 blah, this and that, everything. Oh my god, you don't understand. And then she's gesticulating wildly, and she smacks the top layer of the cake, just ruins the cake.
And Pacey is like comically like trying to mold it back together with his bare hand.
Yum.
He's like molding it with his bare hand, trying to get it
Trying
back
to
together.
save it.
Trying to save it.
I don't think anybody ever really knows. It's like between the two of them that they're
That's what
like,
they do the whole wedding. They don't even actually cater the wedding.
No, they're like
they just try and fix this
in
fucking
the
cake.
kitchen trying to like save the top layer of the cake. At some point, the bride is like, "Oh, she tries to come in, and they're like, it's bad luck to see the cake on an empty stomach," and she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And they're like,
that's what Andie says to her because
and
Andie's trying to like keep her from coming in.
Yeah, and she's like, "I want to see," and she was like, "Well, okay, but." And then she's like, the top layer is really important because we put that in the freezer, and
tradition is you're supposed to put that in the freezer, and then husband and wife eat it on their first year anniversary.
And then Andie gets
and
extra
freaks,
wound up.
Yeah, it freaks
She's
Andie
like,
out
now
even
we've
more.
ruined, not only have we ruined their cake, but we've like ruined their marriage.
She's still off her meds.
Yeah.
She's clearly off her meds, and she's like in some kind of manic state. I don't know why Pacey puts up with it. I would just be like, whoa, like,
He
or
loves her.
smoke some weed and chill the fuck out, bitch, because you.
We know there's a
Dad's
the
probably
room.
got
Yeah,
some.
he's running this whole show. Why don't you go ask him to help you out, because you need to relax just a little. And coming from somebody myself who is type A. She was just, oh God, she was stressing me out. I'm like, just, ugh.
And then she runs up. So so she runs up to, I mean, a lot's happened throughout this wedding, but to continue further talking about Andie, when Jen and Abby crash, she, like, runs up to them and was like, you guys need to leave.
Yeah,
this is invitation only. Like, you guys can't be here.
And they weren't even, like...
They weren't even... Yeah.
They were, like, in the corner drinking some champagne. Nobody noticed that they were there. Nobody paid attention. Nobody cared. It wasn't
no
like
one
they
cared.
And she just, like, ran up...
Just, like, lost it on them.
Flipped out on them. And then they were, like... And then she was like, get out. And Abby even was like, are you kicking us out? And Jen was like, why don't we just go outside... onto the boardwalk and wait until after dinner.
So I guess this was like, it was like a sit-down dinner.
Yeah,
so obviously they wouldn't have a place to sit, which is, maybe why Andie was flipping out on them. Like, everyone's going to know you weren't invited because you're not sitting at a table.
But even Jen's like, we'll be back, but we're going to wait until after dinner. When people are drinking, and
right.
It's less noticeable that we're here, so we'll be back. And Jen is just, Abby, oh God, Andie.
We're never gonna get names straight on this show. Let's just remember that.
Andie was being real extra uptight. What else was happening? I mean, I feel like it was
Dawson, per usual, picks the exact wrong time to try and talk to Joey about personal issues.
Yeah, they're like busy.
Yeah, like Joey is already also in a manic state, like freaking out about how this wedding is going to go down, how this catering job is going to go down. And Dawson tries to talk to her about them two, and where their relationship stands. I'm like, Dawson, this is the exact wrong time to talk about this.
He's such a self-centered
prick. He is a self-centered prick.
He is really just...
Oh, look at you. You got a little Rocher?
I got a Ferrero Rocher.
Where'd you get that?
In the little tin. In a little bin.
There's a tin?
A bin.
There's a tin of Ferrero Rochers.
Ferrero Rocher.
Oh my God.
Ferrero Rochers.
Okay. We were just so fancy today. Ferrero Rocher and Bellinis.
And Bellinis.
We live in that high life.
Yeah.
Well, wait. Jen is also getting fucked up with what's her face. Like they're drinking and stuff.
Right. They steal a bottle of champagne as Andie takes
on the way
out.
She's like, we're gonna take this for the road.
Yeah.
So they leave. Wedding continues. Dawson tries to impose himself on Joey to be like, it's time to talk about us. And Joey's like, fuck off.
We're in the middle of catering a wedding.
We're in the middle of catering a wedding that can make or break my family's reputation. So could we talk about this later? Maybe?
Also, it's upon Jack and Dawson, I guess maybe by accident, that they need to save the bride because she's going to be a runaway bride. Like, Dawson somehow stumbles into the bride's room, which I'm like, why?
Who let this bitch in?
Yeah.
He's supposed to, like, go collect her or something.
Is he? The cater waiter is supposed to get the bride?
I don't know. I don't know how that came about, but yeah, she was, like, having a meltdown, and he was like, I don't know what to say. And then Jack comes in, and he's like...
And then Jack comes in. Yeah.
And he's like, you just have cold feet. This is the love of your life. Don't worry about it. And then Dawson's all like, how come you know all the things to say? How come you're friends with Joey and I'm not? When?
What it boils down to is gay men know how to talk to women.
Yeah.
Dawson doesn't.
Yeah, what it boils down to is the rest of these characters are like reasonably well-rounded people with like actual personalities and things. And Dawson,
empathetic. Dawson
is just lives in this existential bubble that's real annoying. I'm just real annoyed by the weird bubble that he lives in. I mean, maybe we're going in that direction where he's really gonna see the light of day and maybe have some perception about how other people see him, and maybe that's why his film teacher was such a raging bitch to him, because she was just like, you're a fucking prick and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna just take you down.
Oh, that scared me.
It scared me too.
Murph, it's okay.
It's okay, there's just a pack of wild
crazy dogs outside. I know. It's alright, babe.
Okay,
so the wedding catering side of it goes off without a hitch. At the end, all the cater waiters go out and like dance with each other on the floor, which I found
would not happen
no,
at a real wedding.
You
don't
They're
do that.
Working.
Yeah, they're working.
And they're like, oh, we're so glad that this is over and it worked out. I'm like, it's not over yet. like, it's not over yet. Like, you're still working this wedding, and they're just, like, out there dancing with each other, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Which was just part of the plot.
There were a lot of, like, little things that happened throughout this episode. I mean, just Mitch showing up with the teacher again. Like, Mitch brings...
And Mom was wanting to rekindle
And Mom's
some shit.
wanting to rekindle. Like, she's taking this the opportunity to, like... They're fancy, they're gussied up, you know, she looks good, you know, she's like, I'm gonna...
Her hair is extra big.
I was just about to say that. She was ready.
So big. She's got like a whole mushroom cap going on.
So she's gonna try and take this as her opportunity to rekindle something with Mitch, but meanwhile, Mitch has brought him a date in the form of Miss Kennedy. And Dawson gets mad at Dad because Mitch comes over and was like, I'm sorry, you know, you shouldn't be put in the middle of this. I'm really sorry about that. And Dawson drops another knowledge bomb on his dad and was like, you know, well, when you start dating one of my teachers, you put me in the middle. I was like, ooh, that's really smart. I mean, let's give that one to Dawson. That's a smart thing for a kid to say.
It was, because I've complained in the past about Dawson and a lot of the characters in the show, like, laying wisdom on adults, but Dawson was right. He also was like, you and Mom are not divorced yet. And you know she was going to be here. Don't bring a date. Like, be a classy guy. Don't bring a date.
Yeah.
Like, it's just rude. And he's just like, well, because Mitch has now started teaching at the high school. So, so him and this teacher
was
are
he
colleagues.
teaching in
he was a university
prior episode though? Was he already a teacher in episode 17?
I think at some point so in the last 3 episodes he started teaching, and prior to this he was a university teacher, right? No, am I making that up? Maybe I'm.
I mean, since the show started, he's just been an out of work dad. Like, he hasn't ever had a job since the show started.
I'm thinking of a different dad from a different show. He's now a teacher at the high school. So Miss Kennedy is his colleague, and so he's like, oh, Miss Kennedy is just, you know, she's just my colleague, and we're here as friends. And Dawson's like,
you guys definitely boned before you got here.
Yeah, like, fuck you, Dad. Like, you're still wrong. You're still wrong to bring some hot 25-year-old teacher to a wedding where you know Mom's gonna be when the two of you are still.
She did her hair. Just
I know. I mean, it was pretty tasteless of Mitch to bring her.
I guess that was it. And somehow miraculously, Andie and Pacey are able to fix the top tier of the cake and make it look like it wasn't destroyed.
Only from the front, though, because you see in
really?
In the back, it's like...
I didn't see that part.
They're going to figure it out eventually. And definitely if they even manage to get it in the freezer in one piece, when they cut it open and they see that it's just like globs together with icing smeared over it.
Smeared.
Yeah, you see in the scene where they're like doing the like whole cake cutting thing, like there's like a piece in the back that's like trying to escape.
Well, then it goes back to the pier, and this is when I started I still wasn't paying attention until the very last scene, and then I was like, whoa, wait a minute, what the fuck? And then I rewound back to the last pier scene.
So Jen and Abby are again...
They're up on some high trellis of some kind. They're not on
the boardwalk.
No,
they're out on the pier. So there's a boardwalk and there's a pier.
No, but they're up high.
Oh, they're out over the water. Mm-hmm. And they're getting sloshed.
And they're drinking,
on champagne.
On another single bottle of champagne.
Yeah, these girls
don't take much.
I mean, for as wild as they both claim to be, they really have no tolerance.
They really get white girl wasted like fast.
Yeah, unlike 2 glasses of champagne and they're like hammer time. But yeah, so they're hanging out and then
Abby hits her head.
But how did she hit her head?
She fell backwards.
But did she fall because Jen hit her or something?
I feel like Jen grabbed the champagne bottle out of Abby's hand.
And then she was like,
and then
she lost her whole footing.
She lost her footing and hit her head on the on the wooden whatever.
The railing or something.
Yeah.
And then Jen starts laughing
at her. She's like, don't laugh at her.
You bitch! That's what she said.
Yeah.
And then she rolls off the pier and into the water.
Into the cold, icy water of Capeside.
So then Jen...
And then Jen
instantly
jumps
sobers
in
up.
after her.
She's like screaming at her and then jumps in after her. And then we cut to the ambulance.
But then it's a long time. No, like she's in the water for a long time because they go back to the wedding and everyone's dancing. There's a moment between Joey and her dad. Her dad has changed out of his chef's coat and he's put on a suit and asks Joey to dance. And then, Dawson asks his mom to dance. So everyone's dancing on the dance floor. Meanwhile, Abby's like drowning in the icy cold water. And there's a moment between Joey and Dawson, like they switch. So Joey's dad dances with Dawson's mom.
There's a lot of dancing
They
happening.
dance and then they
Everyone's
admit,
dancing.
they say I love you to each other and then they kiss. Joey and Dawson kiss. I was like, geez, here we go.
I missed that too.
I feel like I missed that. Where was I?
What? Oh my
Bathroom.
god.
Maybe in the bathroom. I watch this show while I get ready for work in the morning. That's the only time I have to do it.
I watch it at work.
Yeah. So,
cut back to the ambulance scene, and all you see is a icy blue Abby on a gurney in a black bag, and they just zip up over her
They
face.
zip her up.
And Jen's
everybody-
crying. I was like, what the fuck?
Sarah is dead, yo.
Abby, our least favorite character, is dead. And I saw that scene, and I was like, good. I mean, at first I was like, holy shit. But also, yeah,
Alright.
good. I mean, they didn't set her up. I mean, they really... She's been a horrible human being.
From the jump.
From the jump. And that hasn't changed. She hasn't softened. There's been no moments where we're like, oh, okay, she's actually like a decent human being just hiding behind some exterior, like whatever.
Well, she did have a monologue a few episodes ago where she went on this big long thing.
But even that was fake. Even that was like an act of manipulation. Like, she's just been a horrible human. And then now she's dead. And we're like, slow clap.
But wait, it still prompted a lot of questions for me.
Okay.
When she hit her head on that pole, she wasn't knocked unconscious.
No.
She was still screaming about shit. And then she fell in the water. I don't think they were that far out. And I know it's cold.
What do you mean
and
that
I know
far out?
like-
Into the water?
Oh, that she can't
That
That
swim
she
not-
back.
couldn't swim?
Yeah,
No,
I
I
know
think
it's cold and you get
Oh.
hypothermia real quick. But
She's drunk. She hit her head. She's confused and drunk and hit her head. And
Maybe she didn't know how to swim.
fell into the water.
Maybe.
It's cold. I mean, we don't know, but whatever happened.
it was too shocking for me to believe because when I saw her icy blue body, I was like, wait, what? She just fell in the water.
The one question I asked is, where are her parents? It was just like Jen out there all by herself as the ambulance drove away with her dead body.
Maybe it all happened too soon. They hadn't called the parents yet. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
Or maybe her parents don't even give a fuck. Her parents were also like,
They're like, we hated that bitch too. She was a fucking devil child. Wish we never had her. She was torturing her little brother.
Wow. Torturing her little brother.
Now it's not a
Which we
problem.
don't know if she had or not.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about Abby other than she was just a horrible person.
And I think they really built up to that. I mean, they made her bad throughout the whole series, but then I think she just sort of... She disappeared for like a minute, and then she was back again. So I feel like they were like, "Oh, we're gonna kill this character off. So let's reinforce the fact that she sucks."
Oh,
Yeah.
what I thought was really funny is that she does get a little like real with Jen as they're drinking up there, and because before the night begins, they just talk about how Jen wants to be friends with Abby again because she's bored. She's not a part of the main crew right now, and she just wants to have a good time or something, and how this place is just boring. And so they're at Jen's house, like playing really loud music, and Grimes is like, turn that down. And so again, they're talking about how bored they are. And then when they're up on this trellis thing or whatever, they're, drunk, and Abby goes into what kind of feels like a real moment where she's like, I just don't want to be a cliche. And then they kill her off in the most cliche way.
Yeah.
Like a drunk teenager.
falling off
A pier into the water. I mean, like, this actually happened in my high school. Like, the girl didn't die, but she was so drunk, and she was on some kind of a cliff or a hill that fell off into some rockiness and broke her fucking leg. Like, she came into school and her leg from ankle to butt was in a cast.
Damn.
Because she was drunk and she fell off the train tracks is what she was. She was like tight-roping along the train tracks and then fell.
So we had, in my high school, we had some waterfall thing where people would go to get drunk and hang out, but the hangout spot was at the top of the waterfall. So this girl fell off the waterfall and died. So
it is a kind of up in a city with a lot of water and a lot of piers, and I have not heard of one drunk ass bitch falling off of anything.
So I mean, like, it's a thing that happened in real life in high schools.
It's like a very 90s thing. Like,
yeah,
you go out into the woods and the waterfalls and the piers and whatever.
And the train tracks.
I literally have no idea what you guys are talking about. Like, that's such a 9 days thing. And I'm like, I mean, I know people die in drunk driving accidents all the time. I'm specifically talking about piers and falling off of shit. And I just don't remember anyone falling off a pier.
Okay.
Yeah, it happened in my high school. Like, when I was in high school, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I just thought it was really funny that she was talking about, she's like, I don't want to end up being a cliche. I don't want to end up being, the same story that you hear over and over again. And that's exactly how they took her out of the show.
A dead, drunk teenager.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how they took her out of the
Wearing
show.
I thought bow of feathers in her hair.
Yeah, so the next episode, which we'll talk about in the next, we're leading up to the final episodes of season 2, guys. We have 4 episodes left.
Oh, man. Can't wait.
Woo! Yeah, so we'll find out. How the gang reacts to Abby's death.
Oh, shit. There's going to be a lot of slow clapping. I think, from everyone.
Yeah, I mean...
I wish I could remember anything about this show. But I wish I could remember.
Oh, that's so sad.
I know. I want to predict that Andie is going to be the one to try and have everyone think about good things about Abby, and everyone else is going to be like, fuck this bitch. She was a mean girl. That's what I predict. We'll see how the next episode goes. All right, guys. Okay. Wow, this might have been our fastest recording session ever.
Yeah, we're getting good.
I know. We really are.
Focus, people. We only had one side tangent. No, 2 side tangent conversations. They're mildly related.
Which I think are related, so they'll probably stay in the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have an addendum or a correction to make. So I did look for the mixtape.
Okay.
I couldn't find it. But it wasn't Jane Magazine. It was Sassy Magazine.
Oh,
that I was thinking
I remember Sassy Magazine
which was
too.
a precursor to Jane. It was the same editor, Jane, whatever her last name is. And the reason I got them confused is because I remember when Jane stopped, I had a subscription to Jane Magazine, and I had a subscription, to Sassy Magazine, and it stopped, and I got Jane Magazine
in its place.
In its place until my subscription was done, and then I didn't renew because I wasn't interested in Jane Magazine. But Sassy Magazine released music samplers. So I went, and I remember very specifically still some of the songs that were on it. So I went online and I couldn't find the tape, so I tried to Google it, and I found one sampler online repeatedly in multiple places, and it's not the one I'm thinking of. So I'm starting to doubt its existence, even though I'm pretty sure that it exists. But maybe it was not. No.
Not Radiohead?
No, I remember Radiohead and Sonic Youth was on this. Radiohead, but I couldn't find the tape.
You couldn't find the
and
actual tape?
And I can't find existence of it existing on the internet.
Meaning an actual cassette tape that we could maybe buy, or just
even reference to it. There's a lot of articles about Sassy Magazine and its place in the 90s.
Well, so wait, but they did put out mixtapes, just not the one you remember.
Yes, they did put out new music samplers.
So maybe we can find a new music sampler of anyone that they released or handed out to subscribers. I'm sure we can find something on eBay.
Yeah, they're out there, and they're out there for sale. It's just that the one that I'm thinking of, I couldn't find evidence of, which makes me question everything that happened to me when I was a teenager.
Oh no! Wow.
Fuck up on mushrooms.
Ooh. I mean, she's going down the path of Dawson.
I know.
Yeah, she is.
My existential crisis is happening late.
All right, let's sign this
off.
All right, guys. So
good day.
Hold on.
Oh,
God. Next episode. It's the last episode where we're discussing season 2. It's 4 episodes that we're gonna have to crunch in. But it's the last 4. It's the last 4 of season 2.
I'll watch all 4 tomorrow at work.
There you go.
There we go. Done and done.
Maybe I'll watch some tomorrow. All right. So thank you for listening.
Okay, bye.
Sayonara. I gotta pee so bad.